Have you ever witnessed a moment that completely changed someone's life? Today I'm sharing a story that will leave you questioning everything you think you know about trust, love, and the power of a mother's instinct. This tale involves crying twins, a desperate father, and a housekeeper who discovered a shocking truth that no one saw coming. Stay with me until the end because what happens will absolutely blow your mind. Monday evening, Maria Torres climbs the marble staircase of the luxury estate, carrying her cleaning supplies. At 27 years old and just 4 weeks into this position, she still jumps at the heartbreaking sound that fills the house. Twin babies screaming with such intensity it cuts right through your soul. The newborns have been wailing for 4 hours straight today. Yesterday it was 6 hours. The day before that 7 hours. "Dear God, those poor little ones," she whispers, pausing on the steps to wipe perspiration from her brow. David Harrison emerges in the corridor looking completely lost. At 36 years old, this tech mogul appears to have aged 15 years in just a few weeks. Heavy bags under his eyes, disheveled hair, moving like someone in a trance. "Margaret." He calls desperately for the head housekeeper, who comes rushing over. Neither of them has slept properly in over 2 months. More than 2 months. Margaret, 52 and employed with the family for 18 years, shakes her head with deep concern. She records everything she observes in a small journal she keeps with her constantly. "Sir, you must get some rest too. You cannot continue like this." "Rest?" David lets out a bitter laugh. "How can I possibly rest while my boys are screaming like that? What kind of father does that make me, Margaret?" Maria stops climbing the stairs. The anguish in his voice reaches her heart. She had lost a pregnancy 18 months ago at 5 months. She understands the pain of watching a child suffer. David fumbles with his phone using trembling hands. "Doctor, this is David Harrison calling again. I know I contacted you earlier today, but my boys are in agony. There must be something more you can do." Whatever response comes through the phone makes him even more distressed. "What do you mean there's nothing else to attempt? We've consulted the pediatrician, a child neurologist, and infant specialist. I've spent everything I have and nothing is helping." He hangs up and pounds his fist against the wall. "David," Margaret grabs his arm. "Please don't harm yourself as well. It's hopeless, Margaret. I'm a worthless father. I can't even stop my own sons from crying." Maria watches, her heart breaking. She has never witnessed a man so completely destroyed. His pain is so raw it aches in someone else's bones. The twins' cries grow even louder from the nursery. Lucas and Alexander, 4 months old, are battling something nobody can identify. "If they don't improve soon, I don't think I can handle this," David whispers, his voice cracking. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, David rushes out the door, pushing the babies in their strollers. "I'm heading to the emergency room again," he shouts to Margaret. They're running temperatures from all the crying. The wrought iron gate closes and finally the house becomes quiet. Maria breathes out in relief, not because of the work but because the babies might get some peace. "Those precious little ones," she murmurs as she continues upstairs to clean. When she reaches the nursery entrance, she hesitates. The room smells of baby powder and antiseptic. 2 small cribs, blue and green decorations, toys that remain untouched because the boys cry too much to play. Maria knows she shouldn't enter. David is very strict about who can handle his son's belongings, but something pulls her across the doorway. She picks up a little blue onesie with elephants on it, holds it against her chest and closes her eyes. The memory of the baby she lost strikes like lightning. "My precious angel," she whispers. "If you had lived, you'd be their age now." An hour and 45 minutes later, the clang of the gate jolts her back to reality. David has returned. Maria rushes toward the door, but bumps her knee against the changing table and knocks over a baby bottle. Oh no. She kneels to clean up the mess just as heavy footsteps charge up the stairs. "The doctors have no more solutions," David calls to Margaret. "They claim the boys are physically healthy, but they won't stop crying." He enters the nursery carrying Lucas in his arms. The baby is red-faced from screaming, cheeks puffy, tiny fists clenched. "Daddy doesn't know what to do anymore, sweetheart," he whispers, rocking him gently. Daddy is completely lost. Alexander, still in the stroller, screams as well. A piercing sound that goes straight through your ears. Then something unbelievable happens. Maria, still kneeling, looks at Lucas and instinctively reaches out her arms. "May I hold him for just a moment?" At the absolute limit of his exhaustion, David doesn't even pause. He places the baby in Maria's arms. Silence. Instant and complete. Lucas stops crying as if someone pressed a mute button. His swollen eyes open and focus on Maria's face. Alert. Peaceful. David's mouth falls open. Alexander in the stroller quiets down too. He turns his head toward his brother and toward Maria as if sensing something has changed. "It's all right, little one," Maria murmurs, swaying gently. "What was troubling you?" Lucas's eyelids flutter shut, and for the first time in over 2 months, he truly falls asleep. "I can't believe this," David says, lifting Alexander. The moment he brings the baby near Maria, Alexander settles down too. "How did you accomplish that?" "I honestly don't know, Mr. Harrison. I just felt I needed to pick him up." Margaret appears in the doorway and nearly collapses. "Dear Lord, how did you manage that? Those boys never stop, not even during sleep." But David can witness it happening. He's watching the impossible unfold before his eyes. "Maria," he whispers, "I've been searching for answers for 4 months. I've spent a fortune on specialists and you just—" "They're sleeping," Maria finishes softly, tears in her eyes. "Really sleeping." The three of them stand there in silence, watching the twins sleep peacefully for the first time. Lucas in Maria's arms, Alexander in his father's embrace, but leaning toward the housekeeper as if drawn by a magnet. Confident footsteps climb the stairs. Footsteps that send a chill through the room. "David." A woman's voice calls from the hallway. "I'm here for the boys' appointment." Dr. Victoria Blackwood appears in the doorway like someone accustomed to taking charge. At 40 years old, she's the kind of person who dominates a room simply by entering it. White coat immaculate. Hair in a flawless bun. Posture so straight she never seems to lose composure. "David, how are—" She stops when she sees the scene. Twins asleep. David smiling for the first time in months. And a housekeeper holding Lucas as naturally as if she were born to do it. "Victoria," David whispers, careful not to wake the babies. "You won't believe this. They finally fell asleep. Maria got them to calm down." Victoria's smile freezes. She has been caring for this family for 4 years. 4 years building trust, carefully timing her approach, waiting for the perfect moment to get closer to him. And now a housekeeper walks in and does what she, an experienced physician, could not. "David," she says evenly, "can I speak with you in the hallway for a minute?" But Victoria, look at them. They're so peaceful. "In the hallway, please." David signals for Maria to stay with the babies and steps out after the doctor. "Do you have any idea what just occurred?" Victoria asks, her voice low and tightly controlled. "What?" "She got my sons to sleep for the first time in 4 months. And do you know this woman's medical history? Do you know if she's carrying any diseases? Do you know whether she did something harmful?" David frowns. He hadn't considered that. She just picked Lucas up. "And David, I've been a pediatrician for 17 years. I understand how dangerous situations like this can be. 4-month-old infants are extremely vulnerable. The wrong contact can cause serious damage. But they're fine, Victoria. Look at them sleeping soundly. For now. What if it was a chemical reaction? What if she had something on her hands? What if there's a delayed reaction?" Her words plant seeds of doubt in his exhausted mind. He has always trusted her. She saved the twins when they were born prematurely. She is highly respected, a family friend for years. Inside the nursery, Maria rocks Lucas, who sleeps deeply. Margaret watches Alexander resting in the stroller, finally calm. "Miss," Margaret whispers. "How did you do that?" "I don't know, Miss Margaret. I just felt I needed to help. In 18 years working here, I've never seen anything like it. Those babies don't stop crying even during sleep." She points at the cribs, steady breathing, relaxed faces, relaxed hands. "It's a miracle." In the hallway, Victoria continues planting doubt. "David, I understand your desperation, but I cannot allow someone untrained to have direct contact with premature infants. It's a matter of professional responsibility." "But Victoria, imagine if something happens. An allergic reaction, an infection. You'd never forgive yourself. And as their treating physician, neither would I." David runs his hands through his hair. Exhaustion clouds his judgment. "What do you want me to do?" "Make sure she has no direct contact with the babies for their safety. Meanwhile, I'll adjust their medication. That may be what's been missing." Back in the nursery, a cold feeling creeps across Maria's skin. Something feels wrong. Lucas shifts slightly in her arms. Still sleeping. "Miss Margaret," Maria whispers. "Does the doctor always give them medication?" "Every day. Says it's to calm them, but it never really worked. And today, not yet. She just arrived." Maria thinks to herself, the twins fell asleep without any medication, just with gentle touch and care. David returns, his face closed off. "Maria," he says quietly, Thank you for your help, but Dr. Blackwood is correct. It's better if you don't handle the babies. Maria's heart breaks. But Mr. Harrison, they're peaceful now. I know, but it could be dangerous. You're not a medical professional. It could have been luck or something that might harm them later. Maria gently places Lucas in his crib. The baby continues sleeping. I understand, Mr. Harrison, she says, but her eyes show she doesn't. She helped, and now she's being pushed away for it. Victoria enters with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I'll administer their medication now, she announces, taking 2 syringes from her medical bag. They're sleeping, doctor, Margaret murmurs. Exactly. It's the perfect time to medicate them, then they'll sleep even more deeply. Maria watches, feeling sick. Something about those syringes feels wrong. Excuse me, she says softly, slipping out. In the hallway, she hears Victoria mutter under her breath, more to herself than anyone else. That one nearly destroyed everything. Tuesday morning, Maria arrives for work with a heavy heart. All night she could think of nothing but the twins. Did they sleep? Are they okay? The second she steps inside, the sound she dreaded hits her. The twins crying louder and more desperately than before, as if they've returned to where they were, but worse. They barely slept at all last night, Margaret says when she sees Maria. Mr. Harrison is devastated again, and the doctor's medication. She increased the dose, said it was necessary to counteract what happened yesterday. Counteract? Maria frowns. Why would you need to counteract the fact that they slept? At 8 o'clock on the dot, Dr. Blackwood arrives. More determined, more severe. Where's the housekeeper? She asks Margaret. She's in the kitchen, doctor. Send her up. I need a word. Maria climbs the stairs, heart pounding. Victoria waits in the hallway, arms crossed, face stern. Maria, correct? Yes, doctor. Let's make something clear. You are not to touch the children in this house. They are fragile infants born early. The wrong contact can cause a serious infection. But doctor, I only helped. You didn't help at all. You created a problem. The boys were destabilized all night because their systems were disrupted. Disrupted how? Cheap perfume, cleaning chemicals, bacteria. You clean houses, right? Your hands carry germs that can be dangerous to babies. Every word hits like a slap. The doctor speaks with an authority that leaves no room to argue. Do you understand? No touching. Don't even enter their room. If I find out you disobeyed, I'll tell Mr. Harrison to fire you immediately. Yes, doctor. Good. I'll take care of my patients now. Victoria closes the nursery door behind her. Maria stands in the hall, humiliated and confused. Did she really do something wrong? Did she hurt the babies without meaning to? Inside, Victoria pulls a syringe from a different pocket of her bag this time. Not one of the vials David saw earlier. This one contains a clear liquid that is definitely not a sedative. Let's take care of our little problem, she whispers, injecting the contents into Lucas's bottle. It's a mild stimulant with no taste, guaranteed to keep infants agitated for hours. She has been using small doses for 4 months, ever since the twins came home. The plan is simple. Keep the babies dependent on her care, become indispensable to David, then reveal the cure and ride a wave of gratitude into his arms. But yesterday, a housekeeper nearly destroyed 4 years of careful work. Today Victoria doubles the dose. The boys will have a brutal week, and when she adjusts the medication again, David will fall at her feet. There we go, my little ones, she coos. Soon, Daddy will see that only Aunt Victoria can help you. Lucas and Alexander drink the doctored bottles, unaware. In an hour the effect will begin. In 2 hours they'll be shrieking like never before. Down the hall, Maria mops while the first whimpers start to intensify. Her heart tightens, but she can't do anything, she's been forbidden. By mid-morning, David returns from the office to a crisis worse than any before. Victoria, he shouts into his phone. They're terrible. What did you give them? Calm down, David. It's normal. Their systems were altered yesterday. I'm correcting that. It will get worse before it gets better. Worse? Unfortunately, yes. Trust me, I'm a physician. I know what I'm doing. He hangs up and collapses in the nursery chair. The twins have been crying 5 hours straight today, and they haven't slept properly since Sunday. They'll die if this continues, he whispers to himself, choked by fear. In the hall, Maria hears him and tears stream down her face. She knows she could help. She knows she could calm them if she held them, but she's been banned from touching them. Then she notices something that makes her stomach turn. In the bathroom trash, she spots an empty bottle of infant calming drops. The same brand the doctor said she gave the boys. If the doctor medicated them, Why is the bottle empty and thrown away? And why are the boys worse? A seed of suspicion takes root. What if the person who's supposed to care for the twins is the one harming them? The baby's cries echo through the mansion like a siren. Only Maria seems able to hear it, and she's the one forbidden to answer. They'll die if this continues, David screams into the phone at Victoria. And for the first time, Maria wonders if that isn't exactly the point. Wednesday at 1 p.m., Maria works downstairs while the twins cry for 9 unbroken hours. The sound drills into her, especially because she knows she could help. Margaret comes into the kitchen with her small journal and a worried expression. "Miss, can I talk to you?" "Of course, Miss Margaret. I think something strange is happening. The boys only improved when you cared for them yesterday. Then over the night they got worse than ever." Maria stops scrubbing and looks at her. "You think it's odd too. And another thing." Margaret glances around to make sure no one is listening. "I've been here 18 years. I've never seen babies cry like this. So it isn't normal." "No, miss. And something else. The doctor comes every day now, but before the twins were born, she only came when Mr. Harrison called." Maria's pulse quickens. She isn't losing her mind. "Miss Margaret, you write everything down, right?" "I do. Old habit. Who comes, who goes, what time?" "Could you tell me what time the doctor arrives and what time the boys get worse?" Margaret flips through the journal. "Look here. Monday she arrived at 8 o'clock, gave the drops at 8:30, the boys started screaming like demons at 9:30. And yesterday Tuesday she arrived at 8 o'clock, medicated at 8:15, the boys had meltdowns at 9:15. Always 1 hour after dosing, always. That could be normal. Medications take time to work," Margaret adds uncertainly. "If the medicine is to calm them," Maria says, furrowing her brow, "why do they get worse after taking it? And the bottles the doctor throws away, what about them? I saw empty infant calming bottles in the bathroom trash. If that's what she's giving, why are they empty and thrown out? And why are the boys worse?" Margaret frowns. "Now that you mention it, why toss unused medicine?" Footsteps thunder down the stairs. David rushes into the kitchen, hair wild, shirt wrinkled. "Margaret, where's Victoria?" "I called. She isn't answering." "She hasn't arrived yet, sir. They've been screaming 9 hours. They'll have seizures if this keeps up." Maria's chest aches at his desperation. "Mr. Harrison," she says softly, "may I suggest something?" "What?" "What if you didn't give the medicine this time, just to see if it makes a difference?" He stares like she's suggested madness. "Maria, they're like this because they need the medicine. Victoria explained their systems are, what did she call it? Altered. But what if that's not it? What if the medicine is what's hurting them?" "Maria," he snaps, "Dr. Blackwood is a board-certified pediatrician. She knows what she's doing." Maria lowers her head, but the suspicion keeps growing. The phone rings. "Victoria, thank God," David says. "Please come right now. The boys are terrible." "Relax, David. I'll be there in 45 minutes. In the meantime, give them another dose. It's in the nursery refrigerator." David hurries to the kitchen fridge, grabs a clear bottle. "Margaret, help me medicate them." Maria watches, then makes up her mind. She needs to find out what's happening. That afternoon, she positions herself at the living room window, pretending to clean the glass. From there, she can see the upstairs nursery. 20 minutes later, Victoria arrives and she doesn't look worried. If anything, she looks satisfied. From the window, Maria watches Victoria enter the nursery. The doctor doesn't examine the babies, doesn't take temperatures, doesn't listen to their hearts. She simply pulls something from her bag and injects it into the bottles. "Miss Margaret," Maria calls in a whisper. "Come look." Margaret steps to the window. "What is it?" "Look up there." The doctor isn't examining them. She's just tampering with the bottles. Margaret squints, frowning. Strange. A doctor should check them before giving medication. They watch Victoria leave the room and talk to David in the hallway. They can't hear the words, but his face shows she's reassuring him. "Miss Margaret, when she leaves, can you show me the medicine she left?" "I can." An hour later, Victoria is gone. Maria and Margaret head to the nursery. "Here," Margaret says, opening the fridge. "This is what she always leaves." Maria reads the label aloud. "Natural infant calming drops. But look, the safety seal is broken. Someone opened it and resealed it again." "How can you tell?" "I've cleaned houses for years. You learn these things. Someone tampered with this bottle." Margaret peers closer. "You're right. The cap's misaligned." A cry sounds from the cribs. The tone different. Lucas and Alexander are getting agitated again. 1 hour after the dose, Maria whispers. Exactly like you noted. Dear God, Margaret breathes. Could it be? Miss Margaret, would you do something for me? Tomorrow when the doctor comes, pretend you forgot something in the nursery. Watch what she does to the bottle without her noticing. If she catches you, well then we'll know something really is wrong. Thursday dawns. Maria arrives anxious to hear how the night went. Margaret meets her at the door looking relieved. Miss, thank goodness you're here. How were the boys? Mr. Harrison skipped the night dose and you know what happened? They slept 7 hours straight. 7 hours. First time in months. A rush of relief and confirmation floods Maria. And this morning? Still sleeping, but the doctor arrived 45 minutes ago. She's upstairs. I did what you asked. And you're not going to believe me. Margaret pulls Maria into a corner of the kitchen and whispers. She took a syringe out of her bag and injected something into the bottle. Something she brought from outside. You're sure? Absolutely. I watched her pierce the cap and push in a clear liquid. Oh my God. And then she touched a drop to her own tongue like she was testing the taste. She made a little face like perfect, can't tell. Maria's blood runs cold. A doctor wouldn't taste a patient's medication unless she were mixing something that shouldn't be there. Miss Margaret, we need to talk to Mr. Harrison. He won't believe us. We need proof. Footsteps on the stairs. Victoria breezes into the kitchen with that smile that never reaches her eyes. Good morning. The boys are excellent today, sleeping like angels. That's wonderful, doctor, Margaret says, trying to sound casual. I'll leave the usual bottle. Dose every 4 hours. Victoria leaves, but this time Maria notices something she missed before. The doctor carries 2 bags, her medical bag and a small insulated cooler. Miss Margaret, did you see that? The cooler? I did. Do doctors carry coolers for home visits? Not for ordinary medications. Those don't need special refrigeration. David enters looking better than he has in days. I can't believe they slept all night. Yes, sir. Wonderful news. Victoria says the new formula is working. Maria and Margaret exchange a look. They know the truth. It wasn't the medicine that worked. It was the absence of it. Mr. Harrison, Maria ventures, isn't it strange they only improved when they didn't take the night dose? But they did, he says automatically. Victoria adjusted the formula. You yourself said you skipped it, she reminds gently. He pauses. You're right. I forgot. I was so tired, and they improved. Coincidence? Sir, Margaret adds, may I say something? In 18 years here, I've learned to observe and certain things keep happening. The doctor always fiddles with the bottle before leaving it, and the boys always get worse exactly 1 hour after they take it. David's brow furrows. Margaret, are you suggesting? I'm not suggesting anything, sir. I'm telling you what I see. A cry sounds from upstairs. The boys have woken and are getting fussy again. Okay, David sighs. I'll give them the drops. Mr. Harrison, Maria says quickly, what if we try one more time without, just to be sure? Please, just today. If they get really bad you can give it immediately. He hesitates, Victoria's authority on one side, his own eyes on the other. All right, but if they get too upset, I'm medicating. Hope sparks in Maria's chest. Maybe today they'll learn the truth. At mid-morning, something extraordinary happens. The twins who woke up crying gradually calm on their own. No medicine, no special intervention, just their father's arms and ordinary care. They feed, they nap, they look like normal infants. I don't believe it, David whispers, staring at his peaceful sons. Do you believe now that something is wrong with that bottle? Maria asks. He's about to answer when the phone rings. David, it's Victoria. How are my boys? They're good. Excellent. Did you give the dose on schedule? He looks at Maria and Margaret, who shake their heads. Yes, he lies. Perfect. I'll stop by this afternoon to see how they're responding to the new treatment. When he hangs up, Maria realizes he lied to Victoria. What? Because I want to be sure before I accuse a physician of what you're thinking. And how do we get sure? He falls silent, thinking. We'll test the medicine. That afternoon, the 3 of them stand in the kitchen staring at the bottle Victoria left. How do we test it? David asks. My brother's a pharmacy technician, Margaret says. He could run a quick screen quietly. That'll take time. There's another way, Maria says. We can observe how the boys do with Anne without it over 1 day. How? Split the day. Morning, no dose. Afternoon, give the dose when the doctor comes. Compare. And if they get bad, we stop and call another doctor. Fine, let's try. All morning the twins are settled. They eat and sleep normally, feed fine, nap when they need to, like healthy babies. Early afternoon, Victoria arrives. How are my little patients? Fine, David says, watching her closely. Wonderful. The medication is working perfectly. She heads upstairs. David, Maria, and Margaret wait below. Half an hour later, she comes down. Afternoon dose given. They'll be very calm now. The moment she's out the door, they race upstairs. The twins lie in their cribs, apparently normal, but David notices something. Look at their eyes. Lucas and Alexander stare wide, glassy, as if tracking things that aren't there. Is that normal? He asks. No, Maria says. Healthy babies don't look like that. 15 minutes later, like clockwork, the crying starts. Not ordinary fussing, but a desperate shriek. The sound of something wrong. Now I'm certain, David says, voice shaking with fury. She's poisoning my sons. What do we do? Margaret whispers. We prove it. He calls a physician he knows, Dr. Samuel Chin. This is David Harrison. I need you at my home as soon as possible to examine my sons. It's not a 911 emergency, but it's urgent, today if you can. While he's on the phone, Maria hears a rustle in the bushes. She peeks out the window and spots Victoria hiding behind a tree watching the house. Miss Margaret, she whispers. Look. Margaret goes pale. She's spying on us. Why? Because she knows we figured something out. Dr. Chen will be here at 5 o'clock, David says, hanging up. We'll learn exactly what's in their blood. They don't realize Victoria heard everything through the open window, and she's already plotting her next move. 20 minutes before Dr. Chin arrives, the phone rings. Mr. Harrison, this is the local precinct. We received a serious report about your residence. What kind of report? An employee allegedly administering controlled medications to your infants without a prescription. David goes cold. That's a lie. We still need to check. We're en route. He hangs up and stares at Maria and Margaret, panicked. Someone reported us. Who? Maria asks, though she already knows. Within 30 minutes, 2 squad cars pull up. 4 officers head to the nursery where they find David, Maria, and Margaret tending to the crying babies. Which employee is responsible for the children's medical care? The sergeant asks. No one, David says. A physician is. We have information that this woman, he points at Maria, has been administering medication without authorization. That's a lie. Just then, Victoria appears in the doorway with another officer. Sergeant, as I said on the phone, I found evidence this employee has been drugging the infants. She lifts a bottle of a controlled substance from her bag. I found this hidden among her things. Maria reels. That's not mine. I've never seen that bottle in my life. And this, Victoria adds, producing a paper. Her notes on dosages. A cop hands the document to David. It's a falsified prescription for Lucas and Alexander, made to look like it was signed by Dr. Maria Torres. Maria? David breathes. How could you? Mr. Harrison, I swear I never wrote that. I don't even know how to write a prescription. I'm not a doctor. Ma'am, the sergeant says, you'll need to come with us to answer some questions. No, I'm innocent. She planted those things. As Maria is led away, Victoria steps close to David. I'm sorry. I know you trusted her, but I couldn't let your sons be at risk. He looks at the screaming twins, then at Victoria, now seemingly the only person he can rely on. He doesn't notice the tiny, satisfied curl at the edge of her mouth. Friday morning, Maria wakes in a cold county jail cell after a night that wouldn't end. Hours explaining to investigators that she'd been framed, and nobody believed her. Torres, visitor, a deputy calls. She stands hoping for David or maybe Dr. Chin, someone who could clear her name. But it's her mother, Mrs. Elena Torres, face flushed with shame and fury. Mama, Maria whispers. Don't call me Mama, Elena snaps. How could you do this? Drugging babies. Mama, I didn't do anything. The doctor set me up. Stop lying. It's on the news. It's everywhere. Our whole neighborhood knows you forged prescriptions. The world collapses. If her own mother doesn't believe her, who will? Please listen for 1 minute. I don't want to hear it. You disgraced this family. Your brothers can't even leave the house. As far as I'm concerned, you're, she chokes, dead to me. Elena storms out. Maria curls on the concrete and sobs like she never has. That afternoon, a public defender shows up. He looks burnt out, a man who's seen too many cases like this. Miss Torres, I'll be blunt. It's bad. They have physical evidence. But I'm innocent. Forgery of a prescription is a serious felony. It can mean years in prison. Someone planted the evidence. The doctor did this. Can you prove it? Silence. How do you prove anything from a cell? And the babies, she asks, are they okay? That's not my department. My job is to defend you against the charges. Alleged charges, she says bitterly. Technically you're presumed innocent, but the evidence. He doesn't finish. He doesn't have to. That night an older inmate approaches. First time? I hope the last. Everybody says that. What's your case? They say I forged a prescription to drug babies. The woman grimaces. Messing with kids is serious in here. I didn't. I love those boys more than my own life. Then someone screwed you and they did it good. Maria spends another sleepless night thinking of Lucas and Alexander. Are they crying again? Did Victoria go back to stimulants? Did David notice anything? Saturday morning, the news she feared most arrives via a guard. Those babies you poisoned were admitted overnight. Maria's heart stops. What? Pediatric ICU. Seizures, high fever. Doctors say overdose of the meds you gave. Maria lunges at the bars. No, I didn't give them anything. Let me out. I need to tell someone. Pipe down. You're not going anywhere. They'll die. The doctor is killing them. No one listens. To them, she's just another criminal dodging blame. She crumples to the floor, racked with sobs. Lucas and Alexander are dying. And the one person who could save them is locked behind bars. Across town in hospital corridors, David paces like a madman. His sons are tethered to machines, fighting for their lives. How did this happen, Victoria? He asks for the 12th time. I warned you, Victoria says smoothly. The housekeeper has been drugging them for weeks. The substance built up and now they're reacting. But they were getting better. That was the drug's effect. Now that we stopped it, their bodies are in withdrawal. He swallows the explanation because he has no other. Victoria is a doctor, she must know. What he doesn't know is that right now Victoria is slipping even larger stimulant doses into the boys' 4 lines. Her plan is simple. Push them so close to the edge that when she saves them, David will marry her out of terror and gratitude. Back at the jail, a guard smirks. Torres, your case went national. You're the most hated woman in America. It's true. The story of the housekeeper who poisoned a rich man's infant twins is on every channel. Her mugshot is plastered on news sites. A small crowd gathers outside the station chanting for justice. Baby killer, someone yells. Lock her up. Maria curls in the corner. Her life is now a public bonfire while the real culprit is hailed as a hero. Worst of all, while she rots, Lucas and Alexander are dying in the arms of the person poisoning them. God, she whispers into the dark, if you're real, protect those babies. They don't deserve this. And somewhere across the city, a question she never expected is being asked. Sunday, early morning at St. Joseph Medical Center. David hasn't left his son's side in 40 hours. Monitors show worrying vitals, fever that won't break, small seizures in waves. How are they? He asks Dr. Chin, the attending pediatrician. Stable but still concerning, Dr. Chin says. We'll have screens back tomorrow. Until then, we'll keep them hydrated and monitor. Their bodies need to clear whatever it is. David rubs his face. 4 days without sleep or food or thoughts beyond his boys. Victoria arrives with coffee. You have to rest. I can't. Look at them. I know it's hard, but they'll be okay. Trust me. How can you be so sure? I've seen this kind of intoxication. She lies. She's never seen such a case. She created it. Margaret comes to visit. With 18 years in the family, she got permission. How were the boys overnight, sir? Bad, Margaret. Really bad. And Maria, did you visit her? He shifts uncomfortably. After what she did. Sir, Margaret says gently, may I speak as someone who's known this family a long time? Go ahead. I saw Maria with those babies. The way she cared for them. That girl would never hurt a child. The evidence. Evidence can be faked, but a person's heart, I don't think so. And her heart with those boys was pure. He goes quiet. Deep down he has doubts too. Do you think I should talk to her? He asks. At least hear her side. Across the room, Victoria hears and stiffens. David, she interjects, focus on the boys. That woman will only upset you. Maybe you're right, he says. But Margaret doesn't give up. Sir, may I ask one question? Of course. Since Maria was arrested, have the boys improved or gotten worse? The question lands like a bomb. He has never framed it that way. Worse. Isn't that odd? If she was poisoning them, wouldn't they be improving without her? Victoria's pulse spikes. Dangerous question. Margaret, she says in her most professional tone, toxicology doesn't work like that. The body takes time to eliminate substances. It's normal to worsen before improving. I see, Margaret says, though she doesn't. When Victoria steps away, Margaret leans in. Sir, you should at least speak to Maria, just to be sure. He looks at his son's wires and tubes. Okay. To put this to rest. They don't know this choice will start unraveling 4 years of lies. Monday morning, David sits in a police station visiting room, angry, nervous, and curious. When Maria appears, the shock hits him. 5 days have aged her years, thin, pale, with bruised circles under her eyes. Mr. Harrison, she says quietly. Maria, how are the boys? You care after what they say I did. I love them more than anything in this world, she says. He studies her face. He sees no malice, no deception, only real pain. Explain something to me, he says. If you love my sons, why would you do that? Because I didn't, she says. I swear on my mother's life I would never hurt those babies. Those evidence pieces were planted by Dr. Victoria Blackwood. Maria, that's a serious accusation. It's the truth. She tells him everything. The patterns she and Margaret logged, the tampered bottles, the way the boys always got worse after the doses. Sir, they only got agitated after she gave the medication. You saw it yourself Thursday. When you skipped the dose, they slept. He remembers. That's true. Why would she do it? He asks. I don't know. I only know she is doing it. Can you prove it? From a cell? How? He leaves in a fog. Her words make terrifying sense, but there's so grave part of him resists believing. Back at the hospital, he runs into Dr. Chen leaving the PICU. Doctor, how are they? Curiously, a bit better today, Dr. Chen says. Fever's down a degree. If this continues, we may remove some monitors tomorrow. They're improving away from Victoria's treatment. Doctor, can I ask a technical question? Of course. If someone were giving infants a stimulant to keep them agitated, would they calm down gradually once it stopped? It depends on the substance, but yes, if it's a stimulant, they would settle over a couple of days as it clears. How long? 3 to 4 days. Why? Just curious, he says, though the truth rings inside him. Victoria approaches. How are my boys? Better, he says. The fever dropped. That's great, she says, but her expression doesn't match relief. Victoria, what exactly were you giving them at home? A natural calming supplement. Why? Dr. Chin said they may be improving because they stopped receiving something. Wouldn't it be the opposite? She bristles. Every case is different. You said you knew this kind of intoxication. I do, but bodies react differently. His unease grows. Did you bring anything to administer today? I did, but I'll confer with Dr. Chin first. Just a vitamin supplement. He says nothing but decides to watch her closely. Tuesday morning, Dr. Chin pulls him aside. Mr. Harrison, we need to talk. What happened? Toxicology came back. Your sons have amphetamine in their blood. It's a powerful Schedule II stimulant. In infants, it can cause the exact symptoms they've had. Based on levels, administration has been ongoing for about 3 months. Ryan's legs go weak. 3 months is when Victoria took over their home care. Doctor, how could they be getting that? Access to pure amphetamine is tightly controlled. Someone diverted or adulterated a product. Given the levels, dosing has been regular. We'll inform the authorities, Dr. Chin says. This is felony poisoning of minors. Victoria strolls up. How are my patients today? Victoria, David says evenly, the doctor wants a word with you. Dr. Blackwood, Dr. Chin says, I'm Samuel Chen attending in the PICU. We need to clarify your home regimen. Of course. What? We found amphetamine in the boy's blood. She blanches, then forces a laugh. Impossible. I only gave a natural calming supplement. Do you have the product's documentation? Sure, she says, digging in her bag far too long. Strange. I must have left it at my office. The levels indicate regular dosing for roughly 3 months, Dr. Chin says. Can you explain that? It was the housekeeper, she says quickly. She was doping them. The housekeeper has been in custody 6 days, he replies. And the most recent level indicates dosing within that window. Victoria falls silent. Dr. Chin says, you'll need to cooperate with an investigation. Felony poisoning of minors is serious. The police will want to speak with you. She realizes her world is crumbling, but still refuses to confess. This is a misunderstanding. I'm a respected physician. That makes it worse, Dr. Chin says. David, who has heard enough, steps closer. Victoria, look me in the eye and tell me the truth. Did you give my sons amphetamine? I would never. She can't hold his gaze. I can explain. Then explain. Instead, she tries to bolt. I need to grab documents from my office. You're not going anywhere, Dr. Chin says. Security's already been alerted. Victoria sees there's no exit. That afternoon in a hospital security office, she sits across from David, Dr. Chin, and two detectives. She clings to denial. I never gave those children amphetamine. Doctor, a detective says calmly, we have the tox report, the father's statement, and your constant presence in the home during the period of intoxication. Coincidence? Can you explain the stimulant in their blood? It was the housekeeper. The housekeeper doesn't have access to diverted Schedule II drugs. You as a physician do. Silence. David can't stand it. Victoria, for God's sake, stop lying. My sons almost died. I didn't want them to die. The admission slips out. The first crack. So you did give them something? The detective asks. No, I meant no one wanted them to die. That's not what you said. It is. David's voice shakes with rage. Why did they only improve when they stopped taking your medicine? Thursday night when I skipped it, they slept all night. Coincidence? And here at the hospital? No medicine. They're getting better every day. You're stressed, David. You're not thinking clearly. Dr. Chin cuts in. Doctor, we also have hospital cameras. You were recorded at 2 a.m. last night administering something during a shift change. What was it? Her blood turns to ice. Cameras. We have 24/7 monitoring. We'd like to know what you pushed at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was saline. They were dehydrated. Saline isn't hidden from nursing staff. Why didn't you notify anyone? No answer. The detective leans forward. Doctor, let's make this easy. We know it was amphetamine. We can prove it. All that's left is the why. She looks around the room. David's eyes burn. Dr. Chin shakes his head. The detectives wait. She knows it's over. Her voice trembles. Say it, David whispers. You owe me at least that. I did it because... Tears spill. Because I love you, David. Silence crashes over the room. I've loved you for years, she sobs. Since your wife died. I thought if I took care of the boys, if I became indispensable, you'd see I was the one. You poisoned my sons out of love? He says, stunned. I didn't mean to hurt them. I just needed them to need me so you'd see I mattered. Mattered? His voice is raw. You nearly killed them. The doses were small, calculated. I'm a doctor. I knew what I was doing. And when that housekeeper calmed them, I had to increase it a little. She was going to ruin everything. A little? He echoes. You escalated a Schedule II stimulant in my infants out of jealousy. She's sobbing. I love you so much. I've waited years. That's not love, he says. That's madness. It is love. Everything I did was for love. Love doesn't hurt children. I didn't want to hurt them. I just wanted you. The detectives signal to each other. Dr. Blackwood, you're under arrest for attempted murder, poisoning of minors, and related offenses. As they lead her away, still insisting she loves David, he sinks into a chair, shattered. Doctor, he tells Dr. Chin, I need to get someone innocent out of jail. Go, Dr. Chin says. Your sons are safe now. For the first time in months, David believes it. Wednesday morning, David wades through paperwork at the precinct. Even with Victoria's confession, releasing someone from custody isn't instant. Mr. Harrison, the detective explains, Miss Torres will be released today, but formally dismissing charges will take a few weeks. She can go home in the meantime. Yes. And restitution for damages? I'll handle that later, David says. Right now, I just want her out. Near noon, Maria finally steps out of the cell. 6 days that felt like 6 years. She carries a plastic bag with the few things she had on arrest. When she sees David in the corridor, she stops and stares. No smile, no relief, only exhaustion and a deep, clean hurt. Maria. Mr. Harrison. You're free. Victoria confessed to everything. I know. The detective told me she was poisoning the boys. I was right from the start. Maria laughs once without humor. Yeah, I was right. But you believed her for months and me not one day. The line slices him open. I know I was wrong, he says. Wrong? She shakes her head. You wrecked my life. My own mother said I was dead to her. The news called me a baby poisoner. I'll fix it. How? How do you fix 6 days of hell? How do you make my mother love me again? He has no answer. Thank you for getting me out, she says. Now I just want to go home and try to pick up the pieces. The boys, they miss you. She pauses at the door. How are they? Better every day. Without Victoria's poison, they're getting healthy. Good. Maria, please come back to care for them. I can't. Why? Because I don't trust you. She turns and walks away, leaving him alone on the sidewalk, realizing earning her trust back will be harder than he imagined. The first month after a week of persistent asking, Maria agrees to return, but on strict terms. I'll come back, she says on her doorstep, but not as a housekeeper. And I won't live in the mansion. Whatever you want. I'll care for the boys during the day and go home every night. Fine. I want double what I was paid. Make it triple. And stop trying to talk to me about anything personal. We're employer and employee. That's all. The first days are ice. Maria arrives at 8 o'clock sharp, loves the twins with everything she has, but treats David as if he's invisible. Good morning. Morning. Did they sleep okay? Yes. Fed at 6 o'clock. Thanks. And nothing else. The twins, though, blossom with Maria back. Life returns to normal for them. Better sleep, better feeding, more smiles. But Maria isn't okay. David notices the nightmares. Sometimes she screams when dozing on the sofa during the boys' nap. Sirens outside freeze her in place. Maria, are you okay? I'm fine. You don't look like you slept. My nights aren't your concern. One afternoon, a reporter shows up at the gate. Can I speak to Maria Torres? Maria turns white. I won't talk to the press, she whispers. I'll handle it, David says. He steps outside and deals with the journalist. When he returns, he finds Maria shaking in the bathroom. They left, he says. What if they find my address? What if they go to my mother's again? He sees she's having a panic attack. Breathe. No one's going to bother you. How can you promise that? I'll hire security for you. I don't need charity. It's not charity. It's my responsibility. I put you in this position. It's the first time he fully owns what he did. The second month, the routine stays tense, but tiny changes appear. Maria is still cool, but sometimes forgets and answers him naturally. How was the weekend? Lucas is trying to crawl. He keeps scooting on the rug. Really? Isn't he a little young? Every baby's different. He's curious like you. Maria realizes the conversation strayed from professional and retreats. I'll make their puree. One evening, David comes home and finds her crying in the garden while the twins nap. What happened? Nothing you need to worry about. You're crying. Something happened. I went to the grocery store. People stared. A woman told her grandson I'm the lady who poisoned babies. His chest tightens. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't help. The damage is done. I'll go on TV. I'll tell the whole story. And you think that will undo it? You think people will stop looking at me like I'm a monster? He doesn't know what to say. Let me try, please. It's the first time he's insisted on repairing the harm. That night, he calls a journalist he trusts and schedules an interview. The third month, the interview lands well. He tells the whole story, owns his mistake in believing Victoria's lies, and apologizes publicly to Maria. Maria Torres is an honest, hard-working woman framed by a criminal physician. I failed her when I should have believed her. I ask her forgiveness. Several outlets run pieces showing her side. Slowly, the public sentiment begins to shift. At home, though, Maria stays distant. I saw the interview, she says one morning. It was nice, but it doesn't erase what happened. I know. It's a start. That same month, something important happens. Mrs. Elena Torres appears at the mansion. I want to talk to my daughter. David calls Maria, who tenses at the sight of her mother. Mama. I came to ask your forgiveness, Elena says. Maria says nothing. I saw his interview. I understand now you were telling the truth. You didn't believe me when I needed you most. I know. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't erase the days I spent alone in a cell. Please, Elena cries. You're my daughter. I love you. You said I was dead to you. Tears spill down Elena's cheeks. I said something cruel. I was angry and ashamed. But you are my daughter. Maria weeps too but can't quite forgive. I need time. How long? I don't know. Trust isn't easy anymore. The fourth month, Maria agrees to Sunday lunch at her mother's. First step toward healing. How are the boys? Elena asks. Beautiful. Lucas is crawling. Alexander is trying. And your boss, does he treat you well? He does. I can't complain. May I say something? Okay. I see it in your eyes. You care for him. Mama? There's nothing wrong with that. He's a good man and single. He's my employer. I'm his employee. So what? You're honest and kind and strong. Any man would be lucky. Maria is quiet. 4 months she hasn't thought of herself as a woman, only as the twins' caregiver. At the mansion, David is changing too. He sees Maria not only as the boys' caretaker, but as a person, tender, devoted, sharp. One afternoon he finds her teaching Lucas to clap. Come on, little one, clap your hands. Lucas giggles and tries, missing by a mile. He's learning fast, he says. They're both bright, Maria answers. Like their mom. Maria stops. They're not my children. You care for them as if they were. It's my job. Is it only a job? He meets her eyes for the first time in months. What are you saying? I see how you look at them. How they light up when they see you. That's not just a job, Miss Torres. And I see how they look at you. To them, you're mom. I can't be mother to children who aren't mine. You can. Mother is who shows up, who loves, who stays. She fidgets with Lucas's toy. Why are you telling me this? Because I want you to know how much I admire you. It's the first time his interest shows. Gentle and unmistakable. Months 5 and 6, the relationship warms slowly. Conversations begin about the twins and drift into the personal. Why do you have such a way with children? He asks. She hesitates. Because I lost one. What do you mean? 3 years ago I was pregnant. I miscarried at 5 months. His chest tightens. I'm so sorry. That's why I identify with your boys. They're the age my son would have been. Your son? A boy. I would have named him Miguel. For the first time since she returned, Maria looked straight into his eyes. That's why it hurt so much when you thought I'd harmed them. After losing my own child, I would never hurt someone else's. He nods, finally grasping the depth of the wound he inflicted. In June, for the twins' 7-month birthday, David throws a small party. He invites Mrs. Torres, Margaret, and a few close friends. Thank you for including me, Maria says when he hands her the invite. Of course. You're part of their family. At the party, he watches her laughing with Lucas and Alexander. It's the first time in months she smiles with her whole face. He realizes with startling clarity that he's in love. When she heads home, he walks her to the gate. Thank you for today, she says. They had a blast. Maria. What? You look beautiful when you're smiling. She blushes. Thank you. It's been a while since I saw you smile like that. The boys make me happy. Only them? She holds his gaze, understanding the question he didn't ask. Good night, David. It's the first time in 7 months she uses his name without Mr. The 7th month, something shifts for good. Maria still goes home every evening, but their conversations lengthen, deepen. Did you love your wife? She asks one night. Why? Curiosity. He thinks. I learned to love her, but it wasn't love at first sight. How so? Our families introduced us. Over time, I grew respect and affection. When she died, I thought I'd never feel anything again. And now I've discovered I was wrong. Her heart skips. Can I finish? He nods. I've learned it's possible to love someone for who she is, for how she cares for others, for her strength. I don't know where you're going with this. To the fact that I've fallen in love with you. Maria is quiet a long time. You can't say that. Why not? Because I'm afraid. Of what? Of believing you and finding out it's a lie. I would never lie about this. You lied about other things. I didn't lie. I was wrong. And I learned my lesson. What lesson? That trusting someone means betting on them even when everything seems against them. Her eyes brim. David, I've fallen for you too. But I'm terrified. Of what? Of being happy and losing everything again. You won't. How do you know? Because this time I'll fight for you. For us. The 8th month in August, when the twins are 9 months old, David finally declares himself without hedging. They're in the garden watching Lucas and Alexander pull to stand, wobbling at the coffee table. They're babbling too, he says. Lucas said Mama yesterday. He was just babbling, Maria says, smiling. He looked right at you. Right then, Alexander looks up at Maria and babbles, Mama? Both of them, David whispers. Maria can't hold back tears. What if this goes wrong? What if we don't work? What if we do? She searches his face. Do you really love me more than anything? Even though I'm poor. Money doesn't make anyone more or less worthy. You have something money can't buy. What? A good heart. That's what matters. And your family, your friends, what will they say? They'll say I'm the luckiest man alive. She finally smiles through tears. Okay. Okay, what? Okay, I'll try. I'll see if this can work between us. He pulls her into a careful embrace. I love you, Maria. I love you too. A year later, in the same garden where everything began, David and Maria are married in a small, heartfelt ceremony. Lucas and Alexander, now toddling at 17 months, stumble around the lawn on wobbly legs. Mrs. Torres sits in the front row, proud of her daughter. Margaret has been promoted to chief housekeeper with a raise. David's extended family, skeptical at first, came around once they truly knew Maria. During the vows, the twins shout, "Mama," at the perfect comedic beat and everyone grins. Sounds like they approve, the officiant says. After the guests leave, the new family gathers in the nursery. They've grown so much, Maria whispers, watching the boys sleep peacefully. And they'll keep growing, David says, knowing they were loved from the very beginning by a woman who chose to be their mother. Chose because motherhood isn't only about giving birth. It's about choosing to love. Maria smiles and leans into her husband. Thank you. For what? For giving me the chance to be a mother and to be happy. Thank you for teaching me what love really is. Far away in a women's state prison, Victoria watches a news segment about the wedding. She lost everything, David, her career, her freedom, and justice was done. Back at the mansion, Lucas and Alexander sleep safe, knowing they are loved. And Maria understands at last that sometimes the family we choose is stronger than the one we're born into. Love won this time for good. The end. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more incredible true stories that will make you believe in the power of love and justice. What would you have done in Maria's situation? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to share this story with someone who needs to hear it today.